Now on Talking Solutions, Lisa Tomlin-Kurr with the ALS Association, the Nevada chapter. Thank you so much for coming in for Talking Solutions.
Thank you for having me.
Lisa, social media especially has helped people understand at least a little bit more about ALS, if not ALS itself, the fact that they can help with the funding of efforts to do something about ALS.
Right.
Should we start from the beginning? What the heck is it? Because a lot of people don't know.
Yes, a lot of people don't know. And you're right. With media and everything that's going on, in 2014, we had a huge boost with the Ice Bucket Challenge. Everyone heard about ALS. What is ALS? It's a long word. ALS stands for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis.
Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis.
It's a fatal neuromuscular disease that affects the nerve cells in the brain and the spinal cord. Basically, what happens is the nerve cells stop talking to the brain, and it makes it difficult for everyday things like, brushing your teeth, putting on your clothes, taking a shower, feeding yourself. Your muscles atrophy. They start to kind of melt away, and then they stop working. So they need someone to help them. They need help raising a cup to their mouth to take a drink of water. Someone to help feed them because they can't bring their hands up to their mouth. Eventually, it affects their swallowing capabilities along with their breathing, and then they're unable to breathe.
You're going to make me cry.
It's a horrible disease.
That's what I've always heard, and if I'm correct, for people who like old movies, Pride of the Yankees, isn't it Lou Gehrig's disease?
Yes. A lot of times people, what's ALS? We always go into Lou Gehrig's disease. And even then, they're not quite sure what it is. We refer back to Lou Gehrig's disease.
I kind of see it as your muscles seize up and just don't work anymore.
Exactly.
Then you don't have the ability to swallow.
Correct.
And when you don't have the ability to breathe, at that point, you end up being put on a ventilator or some kind of an oxygen device to help you.
Exactly. It starts with the swallowing, and then unable to eat or drink, a feeding tube comes into place. And then when they have trouble breathing and their breathing slows down, they need help with the ventilator, which means that they're unable to speak. They're unable to communicate with their loved ones, except through maybe eye movement, and then sometimes that stops.
It's really sad. ALS, how common is it?
Every 90 minutes, someone is diagnosed with ALS, and every 90 minutes, someone loses their battle with ALS.
And there's no cure.
There is no cure. There are 2 drugs that are approved by the FDA, but there isn't any cure. So the lifespan for someone who's diagnosed with ALS is about 2 to 5 years. And the reasoning behind that is there isn't a test to say, yes, you have ALS. It's almost like a process of elimination.
That's what they do with a lot of conditions. I do understand.
Exactly. So by the time they are diagnosed, their life expectancy is 2 to 5 years.
They're farther into the progress of the disease, and there's only so much time.
Right.
You got to wonder if inside that individual who's going through the stages of ALS, if their brain is still functioning better than their body is, and they're trapped.
That's exactly what's happening. A lot of times we have patients who can't communicate, but then they have these wonderful devices where it tracks their eye movements, or they're able to communicate with their loved ones. But that's exactly what happens. They're basically getting trapped inside their body. Their brain is functioning just as it was before they were diagnosed.
It's terrible. ALS, that's what we're talking about. We've got Lisa Tomlin-Kurr in from the ALS Association Nevada chapter. We were just talking, Lisa, about the Ice Bucket Challenge, which I think pretty much everybody heard about a couple of years ago. All the DJs in this building at one point in time had ice dumped on their heads, and they were putting it on Facebook Live and tweeting it out, raising awareness and funds for ALS. But now, the event that I know you have coming up, the Walk to Defeat ALS, this is something that somebody who doesn't want to have ice on their head, you could be part of this. When is it happening?
It's on Sunday, November 4th. At Cornerstone Park in Henderson. It's an event that really brings the community together. What happens is you create teams. It could be a team of 1 to a team of 100. And each team will fundraise for their team goal. And then we do a huge celebration on November 4th at Cornerstone Park. We do a 1-mile walk, but we have a DJ who is a high school student. He's DJ B-Rad. We have some food trucks. We have the Ice Bucket Challenge. So if you still want to go ahead and you want to get a little ice water dumped on you, you can. And
oh, yeah, that'll be happening. People love doing that for some reason.
Right. It's just for them to show their excitement about it. And then what we do is we walk as a community. This year, we're having what is called Unlock ALS. There will be 4 different colors. So people will be wearing different lanyards. A yellow lanyard means that you have ALS. a blue lanyard, it means that you know someone, a loved one, family, a friend has ALS, that you're walking in honor of them. If you wear a red lanyard, it means that you just support the cause. You want to defeat this horrible disease. And if you have a white lanyard, it means that you lost someone to this disease. The reason that they have this is to really create that community. And support is a major part of this. Letting them know that they're not in this alone, that they know that we care. So maybe if someone who has a white lanyard can go up to someone who currently has a blue lanyard, meaning that they know someone who has ALS, saying, I know what you're going through, we're here for you, and you're not in this alone. And it really does show that community.
A lot of times when I'm at an event like that, Lisa, where you can tell by a color code which people are actually affected by a disease condition or people whose families have been affected or friends, I like to go up to them and ask their story, because we're there to make a difference in defeating ALS, as the walk's title says. I like to hear what their connection is to it. It makes me understand. And I'm certainly going to be empathetic because we're all part of this event to help to get rid of this disease.
True. And it's almost like when you're wearing those lanyards, you're wearing your heart on your sleeve. You're letting people know why you're there. And yes, we want that interaction because they need someone to maybe tell their story to. And when someone knows someone's story, people become more invested in the organization and what we're trying to do.
Lisa, has the Walk to Defeat ALS been around for a while? Something you do every year?
Actually, we have two every year. We have the one that's coming up here in town on November 4th, but we also have one in Reno. With ALS Nevada chapter, we service every patient, every family in the state of Nevada. It has been around for a while. It was called ALS of Nevada about 14 years ago, and they had started the walk shortly after that. But in 2015, we became part of the ALS Association, one of 39 chapters. So we have more of a support group, I guess you can say, for the walk.
Lisa, a lot of times people get involved with causes because something happened in their life to make them dedicate time and effort. Do you have that kind of a story?
I don't have that kind of story as far as something's happened in my life. I was introduced into nonprofit about 4 years ago, and coming from the for-profit world, this is where I think I want to cry. It really touched my heart. I want to help the community, and this is an organization that you get to know the patients and their families and what they're going through, and you want to help. It's really about the quality of life. And that's where we come in. I mean, how can you not want to be a part of this organization, what they're going through?
This kind of diagnosis of ALS to an individual, to a family, to their friends, it's got to be devastating because there's no cure and there's only a limited amount of time.
Yeah, it is. And that's where you see amazing people. I know in the beginning it's a denial type of thing because it's hard to hear that you have a fatal disease and then what's to come. But our patients, they are positive. They are upbeat about it. They're not dying with ALS, they're living.
Yes.
They're living with that. And to see their attitudes and to see their outlook on life, it really is amazing, even though they're living with this.
You know what I've found, Lisa, is when you are diagnosed with something that has no cure, your perspective immediately changes. It changes everything in your life. I am so fortunate. ALS, I can't imagine the feeling of someone who is diagnosed with ALS. That is horrendous. But your perspective does change even if you have a lesser condition and you look at life a different way. There isn't any time to waste. And a morning when you wake up, even with challenges, is still a morning when you wake up.
Absolutely. And I think that's where a lot of times when they do go through these hard times, we have care service coordinators. They have a nursing background. They do home visits with the families and they help them through those difficult times. We have support groups that help them along the way. And again, I think support is one of the major things we help with the quality of life with our patients and their families.
That's huge. Having another person who understands what you're going through, there's nothing that matches that. If you are a patient dealing with it, to talk face to face to another patient also dealing with it. It's just the richest connection you can possibly imagine.
Absolutely. There were studies done. They said that care service coordinators, they help their patients so much that they can improve the quality of life up to 300 days plus because of that support and because of helping them through that and know that they're not alone. They have a support system outside.
We're talking with Lisa Tomlin-Kurr with the ALS Association, the Nevada chapter. We are talking about ALS. A lot of people know it as Lou Gehrig's disease. You were saying, Lisa, too, that a lot of the people that you come across who are dealing with ALS, the phrase I'm sure you hear a lot is they're inspiring their attitude toward life. And if you remember back to that old movie that I referenced a little while ago, The Pride of the Yankees, Lou Gehrig, here he is standing, saying goodbye to baseball with this diagnosis with no cure. And he said he was the luckiest man in the world.
Yeah.
That's an attitude you aren't taking anything for granted at that point.
The zest for life is incredible. They're going to enjoy the moment today, right now, instead of worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow. It's right now.
And you've got the event coming up on Sunday, November 4th at Cornerstone Park. That's a great place in Henderson.
Yes.
The Walk to Defeat ALS. Bring out your family, your neighborhood, your friends, your office, your church, or your school. You said there's a 1 mile walk and all kinds of different events. How much to get involved?
It doesn't cost anything. It's free.
So do I get pledges at that point?
You do get pledges. And if you happen to say, you know what, I do want to come by and I want to support the morning of, you can attend and you can do a donation, but it doesn't cost anything to register.
Is there a website where we can get all of the information?
There is, alsanv.org, and they can go to our event pages.
You know, we'll put all the information, links, and everything on our Talking Solutions Facebook page, along with the podcast of our interview today. Lisa, the funds that I'm sure you're going to generate through this event, I hope you raise all kinds of money for this.
Me too.
What's it going to be used for? Patient services, research? Is it designated for a special use?
It goes to the families and patients living with ALS. We have 2 care service coordinators. Like I was saying, they do home visits. They help them with, filling out insurance policies, getting Social Security, help with all that type of paperwork. We also have 3 clinics, 2 here in town, and we have 1 in Reno. They can go to a monthly visit where they can see several different clinicians at once. Their neurologist, their doctor, it could be a dietitian, a physical therapist, so they can see all these multiple clinicians at one visit instead of making multiple visits. And we also have a equipment loan closet. So a lot of times they might need equipment that's not covered by insurance. So what we do is we find out what they need, we go to our loan closet, and we lend them the items that they may need to help them along. We also have a RESPA grant for our caregivers. A lot of times the loved one who has ALS needs 24-hour care. Their family members may have to quit working and take care of them 100% of the time. They also need a break. So a respite grant, we provide a nurse that can go into the home and care for their loved one with ALS while they take time away. They could maybe go visit some friends, some family members. They can take some time out for themselves, kind of rejuvenate them, and then give them a break, and then they come back to the care of their loved one.
It's 24/7. It never lets up. And caregivers do need, as you said, some respite, because when they get back, they're able to jump right in and really give it all the energy that you need to give to make a difference.
Exactly. And they need that. We also have support groups for not only the ALS patients, but the caregivers.
Pretty hard knowing that you can't do anything about it. It's a very helpless feeling to have someone with ALS in your life, I'm sure.
It is. And again, I go back to that support. They can call someone knowing they can say, we still have questions. And instead of them coming to us, we can go to them.
Lisa Tomlin-Kurr is with us from the ALS Association, the Nevada chapter. We're talking about the event that's coming up on Sunday, November 4th, the Walk to Defeat ALS. It's going to be at Cornerstone Park in Henderson. 1 mile walk, no cost to get involved, but you can get pledges and help donate money to the cause. Tell me, Lisa, we were discussing just a moment ago the big ice bucket challenge that everybody saw on social media and everywhere a couple years back. That raised a ton of money for ALS. I believe research.
It did. They learned more about ALS. It almost gave us a jump start of about 10 years, they said. So if we didn't have the funds from the Ice Bucket Challenge, it would have been 10 years down the line for the stuff that we've learned now. And ALS, they just don't know where it's coming from. I want to say about maybe 5% it's genetic. The other 90 to 95% is sporadic. They don't know where it's coming from. One of the statistics shows that if you're a veteran, you're twice as likely to get ALS than if you didn't serve in the military. They don't know why those statistics are out there. All we know is that because of the patients that are being diagnosed, that's where they're getting that information.
Wow, Lisa, we talk about a lot of veterans-related topics here on the show. There's a clue somewhere that someone who has served in the military now has twice the chance of developing a terminal condition like ALS. Yeah. There's something in that equation that's triggering it. Right. I mean, I'm sure that there are genetic things in place already, but sometimes if you perform a certain task or you have a certain illness or any number of variables comes into play, it makes that lock tumbler kick. And suddenly it manifests itself.
Right. It's amazing. A lot of times when I'm reading about ALS or different studies, there's things that just hit me. I'm like, why is that? There's two things that were surprising about the veterans. Is twice as likely to get ALS. It costs someone with ALS up to $250,000 per year. And that's including lost wages because maybe they were the breadwinner in the family. Or all of a sudden now their spouse or their loved one has to quit their job because they need to take care of them because they need 24-hour care.
One more reason why, when we mentioned a moment ago that a diagnosis of ALS can blow a family apart, for so many reasons. It's going to take out whatever resources you had. It's going to tax your insurance. A lot of times you run up against caps. They say, no, we've spent enough money on you, which is a horrible thing for them to say. But then again, there's people on the other side who say, well, we can't spend unlimited amount of money on everyone. There's a lot of different parts to that argument.
Yeah.
But if you were in the middle of it, there's no way that you would be able to understand when an insurance company says no, or when an insurance company makes you wait, because there's only so much time, and time is so precious. To have the resources of the ALS Association Nevada chapter, someone there to help you through all of these processes, someone there to help you with the things that you need for the medical equipment that has not been approved. I need it today. There's not a lot of time here, but you can help people access what they need now during these oh so precious days.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that I love about the fact that the money that we do raise goes to the families living here in Nevada. We also help people who come visit. We get a lot of visitors traveling here. We just had someone recently who needed something from us, and we loaned them what they needed while they were visiting here in town. So if we have families that are coming to Nevada and they need certain equipment, we do take it to wherever they're staying and loan them the equipment that they need for the time that they're here. They go pick it up afterwards, and then they go back to their own state.
Yay for you.
Yeah.
Las Vegas, where we get 44 plus million visitors a year. Even though ALS is not that common, there will be people who come into our area who are dealing with the disease and also have needs. And it's nice to know that you not only serve the local population dealing with ALS, but the visitors who come in too.
Absolutely. And it goes back again to that quality of life. They want to come see a show just as much as you and I do.
And I want to do it while I can.
Exactly. So it feels good to know that it's not just for the Nevadans that live here, but if they're coming for a visit, we can help out when we can.
We're talking about ALS. Tell me how to say it again.
Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis.
Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Boy, I'm never going to get the hang of that one. ALS, a.k.a. Lou Gehrig's disease. No cure, always fatal.
Yeah.
You only have a certain amount of time. You tell me too, Lisa, that every 90 minutes someone is diagnosed with ALS, and every 90 minutes someone dies from ALS.
All right.
So although it is not tremendously common, thank goodness for that, it still is out there. And the Ice Bucket Challenge, which everybody knows from a couple years ago from social media, that was even being done around this building, I swear to you. That raised a lot of money, millions of dollars for research, which has proved fruitful to the point where you say researchers have gotten 10 years beyond the point that they would be otherwise.
Right, which is amazing. And that's what we need. And a lot of times people are like, oh, I want to donate. We want to donate to research. You can donate towards research through the Nevada chapter. A lot of people don't know that. They're going, these things are great what you're doing, but I want to donate to research. They can donate to research through the Nevada chapter as well.
You can do all of that. It's a great one-stop shop for all the stuff having to do with ALS. We got to solve this. The research is essential. The Walk to Defeat ALS is coming up on Sunday, November 4th at Cornerstone Park in Henderson. 1 mile walk, lots of activities. Your young high school DJ running the music over there.
Yes.
A lot of things, a lot of events, food trucks. It sounds like it's going to be a really fun day, and there's no cost to participate, but you can get people involved, raise some pledges, raise some money, and all of the funds, I understand, for the Walk to Defeat ALS are going to be used by the ALS Association Nevada chapter locally for the families, the people who are diagnosed and the families who are all dealing with this disease.
It is. I know a small portion goes to our national because we are part of a national office, but that's minimal. But the majority of the funds stay here for our families, just trying to do what we can to make that quality of life. It's important to us that they have that.
Well, I think about it, and if you were at an event like the Walk to Defeat ALS, and you saw someone with the color of lanyard that tells you that they themselves are suffering from this fatal disease, the thought that goes through a person's head is, I wish I could do something to help. Well, guess what? You can. By being part of events like the Walk to Defeat ALS, you can make a difference. You can give them some quality of life. You can help them and their families and provide them with what they need by being part of this event.
Absolutely. And it also lets them know that you care. You may not know who they are, or you may not know anybody who has ALS, but it doesn't mean that you can't show that you care, and you can't show that you support them.
Absolutely. I do believe, Lisa, as prevalent as the ice bucket challenge was, all of us know people who, if they didn't get ice dumped on their own head, we either cheered on as our friends or coworkers had ice dumped on their heads. We all know somebody who participated in this huge event. Social media took it over, and it was a big darn deal. Good for them. But, because of the fact that we all, either directly or indirectly, know someone who took part in that ice bucket challenge, now there's a chance to make a difference locally, make a bigger difference for the people who are directly impacted. That helped with research, wonderful. That's still going on. But as far as taking a day, getting together with other like-minded people for the Walk to Defeat ALS, it's going to be a big thing.
It is. And I think one thing for us, it's having that exposure to let people know that we're here. We've had patients that had ALS for a year or so going, I didn't know that you guys were here. I didn't know what was available to me. I think it's important that we spread that awareness that we are here. We're here to help. And there's so many different avenues that we can help. And, it might be some random request that doesn't happen all the time, but we work together to try to make something happen that they may need.
Well, the ALS Association Nevada chapter, it's good to know you guys are here. You have an event here in Henderson and also one up north in Reno, and you're helping the people dealing with this directly here in the state, be they patients themselves or their families. Lisa Tomlin-Kurr, as part of Talking Solutions, we always ask, what can we do to help you?
What can you do to help us? Get involved, whether you want to be a part of the walk and you want to help raise money, donations, or you want to volunteer. We're always looking for volunteers to help out with our events. And then, of course, always spread awareness that we're here in town, that we're in Reno. We're here to help with anything that the family may need. So spreading awareness, volunteering, and of course, donations doesn't hurt.
That's why we're here, to help shine a light and spread awareness. Because, you might be in a shopping mall someplace. You may be in a restaurant. You may be in a park and see someone in a wheelchair and not realize what it is that they're dealing with. But I always have believed that by understanding better what these people are dealing with, it creates empathy. And in the long run, we're all nicer to one another. So knowing what the ALS Association Nevada chapter is all about and the Walk to Defeat ALS coming up on Sunday, November 4th at Cornerstone Park in Henderson, we need to get together. I'm believing, Lisa, that this event is not going to be some hang your head, we're all sad. Yeah, there is no cure. These people only have a certain amount of time. But you guys really can make a difference in their quality of life. And as you said, these people inspire you because of their zest for life.
Absolutely. And it is a party. on November 4th at Cornerstone Park. People have a great time. We have these pumpkins that we hit with a sledgehammer to smash out ALS, which is a lot of fun. It's a celebration of community getting together, and we are a community. You can feel that around you when you're there.
It does sound like fun. And if you want to find out about the walk, go to the website, alsanv.org. Of course, like always, we'll have all the information, links, and everything on the Talking Solutions Facebook page, along with a podcast of our discussion today. Lisa, am I forgetting anything?
I think we covered everything. I just appreciate you giving us the opportunity to spread the word about what we're trying to do.
I think it's important to understand this.
Yes.
Everybody on this planet deals with a limited amount of time, but these guys who get diagnosed with ALS, it's in their face.
Right.
They understand more than any of us how precious life is. So we can make a difference. Just a reminder about the Walk to Defeat ALS, Sunday, November 4th, Cornerstone Park in Henderson. No cost to get involved. It's going to be a party. All the info is at alsanv.org or the Talking Solutions Facebook page, where you'll find links and a podcast of our discussion. Lisa Tomlin-Kurr from the ALS Association Nevada chapter learned a lot from you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you for coming to join us today on Talking Solutions.